Global warming, a topic that seems to be on everybody's mouths these days. Not only has it become a hot topic for discussion in schools and from media outlets, but it's also become an issue that is deeply analyzed and tackled by scientists and politicians alike. So, what is global warming? With the world being as divided as it is right now, surely it must be pretty important to be able to unite world leaders in solving this issue. Well, global warming is the rising of global temperatures, or specifically, the rising of the temperature in our Earth's atmosphere mainly due to the increased levels of pollutants such as carbon monoxide, CFCs, and nitrogen oxides, not to mention greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide, methane, and many more. So now that we have a brief understanding of global warming, it's time for us to look deeper into the root of this issue. So what causes global warming? One of the main factors attributed to global warming is the greenhouse effect. Now, the greenhouse effect is a phenomenon that occurs when the energy from a host star penetrates the atmosphere of a planet, which in our case is Earth, and is unable to escape from the atmosphere, leading to a warmer planet surface and rise in global temperatures. Just so you know, the Earth's atmosphere reflects almost a third of sunlight back into space, with the remainder being absorbed onto the Earth's surface. And this process is actually critical to the survival of every living being on Earth, because without the greenhouse effect, Earth would be 30 degrees Celsius colder than our current temperature. By then, no longer is it an issue of a lack of heat or food supply, because if that were to happen, Earth would no longer even be sustainable to life. Life itself would cease to exist. So the greenhouse effect isn't a bad thing. In fact, it's actually a good thing. Something that is crucial to the survival of humans and every other living being on this planet. But then why is the greenhouse effect attributed to the rising of global temperatures? Well, remember how we mentioned just now how pollutants such as carbon monoxide, CFCs, and greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide and methane are the main causes of global warming? Well, it turns out that when humans release these gases into the air, they start to build up around the Earth's atmosphere. And what happens is heat starts to get trapped inside our Earth's atmosphere due to the fact that these greenhouse gases absorb light that would otherwise be released back into space, ultimately resulting in a warmer planet. From air conditioning and transportation to factories and poultry farms, many of the things that are essential to modern civilization emit some form of greenhouse gas one way or the other. And as of today, the concentration of greenhouse gases in our Earth's atmosphere has peaked at its highest in 2 million years and is still continuing to rise. So, what are the implications of global warming? The first and most obvious effect that can be immediately felt by humans is the rise in weather temperature all across the globe, as the name global warming would suggest. Not only does this make it harder for humans to work and move around, but it also has more severe implications, such as the increase in heat-related illnesses and the spread of wildfires. Illnesses such as strokes, headaches, heat exhaustion, and many more. All of this which can not only affect the health of the general population, but also decrease overall productivity levels. And if any of us have been watching the news lately, we would know that wildfires have been becoming more common every year, especially in areas with Mediterranean climates such as Australia, California, Siberia, and so on. Besides that, global warming has also caused global sea levels to rise in unprecedented rates in recent years, because as most of you know, when water absorbs heat, it expands, and that is the same case that's happening with our oceans. But there is also another reason for rising sea levels, and that is melting ice glaciers. You see, when global temperatures rise, ice glaciers, which are mostly found in the Arctic and Antarctica, can start to melt at an unnaturally high rate. And this has actually caused sea levels to rise over 21% over the past 2 decades. With that, coastal cities such as Shanghai, Bangkok will most likely be flooded in the near future. Even as of now, these coastal cities are already investing huge amounts of money into engineering projects such as seawalls and surge barriers. From this, we can already see how severe the implications of global warming are. And truth be told, we've only just scratched the surface of it. Other problems such as the extinction of species, increased drought and storms, and so on already pose a huge issue in itself. Add that together with the ones that we just previously mentioned, it's obvious how affected we are and will be affected by global warming. Now, is there a solution to it? Luckily for us, like every other problem, we humans have come up with ways to solve this issue. This will require some changes to our lifestyles. First, we could save energy at home. Because as of now, for those of you who are living in Malaysia, it is very likely that most of your home electricity is generated by coal, oil, or gas. By conserving energy, such as using less air conditioning, switching to LED bulbs instead of normal bulbs, drying your clothes under the sun instead of using a dryer, and so on, we can save unrenewable energy sources while also limiting the amount of heat released from our electrical appliances. Aside from that, believe it or not, eating more vegetables instead of meat can also lessen the rise in global temperatures because, generally speaking, the amount of greenhouse gases released and energy consumed during the processing of meat is far more compared to that of vegetables, so listen to your mother and eat your vegetables. But how about buying electric vehicles instead of ICEVs? Or installing solar panels on your roof to rely more on renewable energy sources, or even just recycling old items? Well, if you live in Malaysia, chances are these methods are just not practical for the everyday folk. If you were to buy an electrical vehicle now, not only would it cost you a kidney, but considering the fact of how limited the number of charging stations are here in Malaysia, you'd probably die halfway on the road before you can even get to the nearest charging station if you were to embark on a longer trip. Then how about installing solar panels on your roof? Well, the truth is, most people simply can't afford to buy solar panels, and this does not even take into account installation and maintenance fees. Solar panel technology is still at its infancy as of the current moment, and it's gonna take a lot more time and innovation before they start to become the norm. Yet if these aren't considered practical, then surely recycling would be a feasible option. Well, it's not that simple. If you look at the streets now, how many recycling bins do you actually see? Not a lot, right? How about the number of recycling companies in Malaysia? Not a huge number either. The bottom line is, if we want to save our planet from global warming, one of the best ways to support is to support the science and evidence behind global warming. But on top of that, it is also important that we as a people vote in representatives that care about improving our planet's climate and our people's future. So in conclusion, the situation may be dire, but it's not unavoidable. As long as humans are well informed and well educated on the effects of climate change and take the proper initiatives to solve this problem, well, then there still might be an Earth after all in our future. Thank you.